Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. Zube here, and it's been a little bit, I think, before Christmas. Some of you, I realize, don't know or follow me on Facebook or whatever. And so I'll just do a quick explanation for my absence. I don't know if you guys heard about the kind of debacle with the Southwest flights. I was in the throes of that. And on December 26th, I was supposed to fly from Denver to San Antonio so that I could then catch a flight on the way early morning of the 29th from San Antonio to Philadelphia with my son so we could go visit my family in Jersey. And I went to the airport in Denver on Monday, the 26th of December. And as soon as I got there, I found out that my flight was canceled, which the airport's like 2 hours away. Anyway, the flight was canceled. I never got a text or anything. The funny thing is, I'm not super mad. I fucking love Southwest. I get to bring luggage. What? You get to bring like luggage on your trip without paying extra. We fly them all the time because I travel a lot. So my husband lives in Colorado and I live in Texas. And you can cancel your flight like 10 minutes before your flight and get a credit. So I fucking, like, no shade thrown at Southwest. And from what I hear, it was just between the storm and all that, basically shit fucking happens, people. But anyway, so it never even occurred to me to be mad. I miraculously got a ride home from somebody. I won't go into the details, but from the airport, because I had taken a shuttle down because my husband was skiing with his daughters. And there's a point behind why I'm going to share all this, but he wanted to ski with his daughters, so I had paid for a shuttle to go down there. I tried to catch the shuttle, but the girl told me, even if we can find the person, you're still going to have to pay for the shuttle ride back, which is like $60. And someone who I knew on Facebook from, acquaintances, whatever, had caught a flight, and I waited 2 hours for their flight to arrive. And then I caught a ride with them back up to Breckenridge, Colorado, which is where I live part of the time. And then, the next day I got in my car. We're very fortunate. We have a little Nissan Versa manual car named Gracie. And I love her, even though I don't like driving her in the mountains in the snow because it's manual and I'm not that great. I don't have years and years of experience driving in fucking mountains and snow in a manual. But Zeke uses her up there in the summer, because she gets better gas mileage. But anyway, so the next day I hopped in Gracie. And I plan to drive back down to Texas, which I'm very fortunate I can just do that. And on my way down, so that I could catch my flight in San Antonio, figuring like, all right, Southwest will get their shit together, And yeah, so on the 27th, I got in the car. Well, while I'm driving down there, Zeke calls me and he's like, you have to pull over right now. You have to go find a store. Where are you? The oil cap, he found the oil cap in the driveway. So I was in New Mexico already. So I went and I found, it wasn't Napa, but it was some kind of like local. I bought an oil cap. I put the oil cap on. Fortunately, there was still oil in the car, but I bought more. I added to it. There was oil sprayed all over the hood. I actually still have to take care of that. Finished driving down to San Antonio, but as soon as I bought the oil cap and put it on and started driving again, I got an email that the flights for the 29th were canceled. And so I'm driving down and I'm like, God damn it. That's the whole reason I'm driving down there, so that I can catch those flights and pick my son up and all that. So I decided, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna drive to Jersey because it's a really important trip. My brother died in February, and it was just really important for us to be there. We had a beach house, but at the Jersey Shore, at Long Beach Island, which is way more hippie crunchy than the ones that you saw on that stupid show. None of those people were from Jersey anyway. But long story short, I'm back now. So I mean, it's just I've driven from Colorado to Texas, and then with my son, we drove, up through. We went through Pennsylvania because we didn't want to be coming up the East Coast on a Friday. We had the beach house for Friday, so we decided to go up and over and go through Pennsylvania. So we didn't have to do like Baltimore, Maryland, all that bullshit. And yeah, so we got there at 8 o'clock on Friday night. We left on Wednesday morning. And took three days of driving to get to the beach, and then hung out with my family for a few days, and then we left on the following Wednesday. So we were in Jersey from Friday night until Wednesday, and then we drove down the East Coast because my dad lives in North Carolina, and I'm like, well, since we're driving, we might as well pass through there. We would have passed through on the way up, but we wouldn't have had time to stay overnight and miss the beach house. Here's why I'm sharing this, right? Because first of all, I still love Southwest, but I was thinking about a lot of the work that I've been doing, and I don't like the term positive, but solution oriented is kind of where I'm going with this. Like at no point during that time did I really didn't get pissed off. I kind of would go, oh, really? I listened to a lot of Brian Scott videos and meditations, and so one of the mantras that I love is that everything is working for, like, in my favor, even if it might seem negative at first, and this can apply no matter how much you zoom into or zoom out of life, like I talk a lot about when I went to rehab, but when I went to rehab, that sure didn't seem like a good thing, but it turns out it was an amazing thing. It just completely like shifted my life, obviously, but in other less obvious ways. Like, I'm even grateful that I was an alcoholic, because I feel like there are things that I shifted and learned in rehab that I never would have changed if I had just always been a regular sober person, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. But the whole time I was just solution oriented. I was like, okay, so how can I figure this out? Like, what can I do next? And I always stayed in gratitude of, this isn't to say that other people aren't entitled to their justifiable anger at Southwest. Like, when I was at the airport in Denver and I found out that my flight was canceled, the immediate thought that I had was, wow, well, thank God I know I can get back to Breckenridge and hop in my car and drive down there instead, because it seems like this is a little bit of a mess. The line was going around the whole entire fucking airport. People were irate. Oh my God, it was, I don't mean to laugh, but it was a nightmare. It was not my nightmare though. I was just watching other people's nightmares unfold. And my son and I ended up having a really amazing trip, and we picked out all these cool Airbnbs, and we're going to get refunded for those tickets. And I think all told, we probably spent less on the drive out there, you know. It was exhausting. So I'm very much in recovery mode right now and rest mode, but I really want to do a collective reading. I don't know why I'm changing that term from general. I think that this a general reading felt more like this is a reading for somebody. The collective reading is more of this is what's going on in the world. There's, things like this or general energies. It's kind of the weather out there. So if you are interested in a personal reading, astrology or tarot, my information is down below. Thank you for stopping by. Just going to pull out a bunch of cards and see what comes out. They're not going to be in any particular order because I just want to sort of. All right. We have the King of Wands, the Five of Swords, the Three of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. So we have these guys. I'm going to clarify with another deck, but this is what's going on. Okay. This is what I am sensing kind of out around us, within us, sort of all over. But the Five of Swords is regret. It can be betrayal, loss. This is sort of, do I go back and make amends or do I just move forward? Something has happened, there's been a battle, there's been a fight, there's been a conflict or something like that. And it's it's kind of like if you move away from it without making any kind of indication or amend at this immediate moment, sort of all is lost, right? Like the final cut is sort of what I'm getting from this one. It's also sort of looking back on the past with regret, regretting things that we've done. And the Three of Swords is heartbreak. It can also be healing. So there's a lot of ruminating on the past. There's there is betrayal is seemingly around. We might be losing people. People might be falling away that who knows, that need to fall away in some cases. In other cases, it could be temporary, but this King of Wands, I always think I sort of like he's looking into the past, like especially they came out like this, and this is going on around him, but he feels flesh and blood. Like this is us. This is our inner masculine, our inner fire. The wands are fire energy. So that's creator. You know, he is the creator of his own reality. This is where we put things into action. The wands are more heart-centered. So all of this is going on in the outside world, but the King of Wands is over here looking within, like looking within ourselves. And it's not necessarily that we're going to ignore everything that's going on in the outside world, even at like ours. I'm not just talking bigger, I'm talking this is collectively, you know, each of us individually. But I'm getting really like be strong vibes from this. The Three of Pentacles coming out last. It's like rebuilding. The Three of Pentacles is co-creating. So yeah, look at how these two difficult cards are kind of bookended by these. You know, the King of Wands is cognizant of what's going on out here, okay? But the Three of Pentacles is rebuilding for the future. And all is not lost. You never fucking know. Why is that coming in? Like you just never fucking know what is being rebuilt. We do a clarifier for each one of these. The King of Wands is also action. And it's funny too, because if I was just asking myself, I'm like, so, okay, how could the story that I shared, because I think everything, you know, there are no coincidences, but how would this reading relate to the story that I just shared? That was a fucking debacle. I mean, it was literally a fucking debacle for me. And at each twist and turn, I could have just gotten pissed off. I could have, and even if I had, that would have been okay too. But I could have gotten stuck in inaction and just lamenting what was going on right in front of me, and solutions wouldn't have occurred. Like I was looking back on it and I'm like, yo, that trip so easily could have not happened. I could have given up when the line for Southwest was wrapped around the fucking airport in Denver, you know, but it just didn't occur to me that that trip might not happen. So there was action. There are action steps that you can take. Do what is right in front of you and what feels proactive or positive, like keep moving. That's actually another thought I had this morning. I'm really exhausted and there's like a mountain in front of me that I will be climbing, that I am climbing incrementally, because when I was in meditation, it was like, you know, just one step at a time. And I remember this time when I was really sick. I had the flu and I was home with both of my kids and they were little. Like I think my youngest was 1 and my oldest was 3, and my oldest was really sick as well, which was sort of convenient because she was not moving around a whole lot, but my 1-year-old was all over the place. And I remember at one point in time, like literally every time I would stand up, I would puke. And I remember crawling into the kitchen to get him a bottle. But like slowly but surely I got through the day. And so that's kind of what came to me in my meditation this morning of what needs to be accomplished right now. I'm very tired, but it's like if I get up and do one little thing, or you know, eventually I'll look back and be like, all right, like shit got done. But if I lay in bed and think about all the shit that needs to be done and don't do anything, then, you know, it's not exactly like brain surgery, but sometimes we need to remind ourselves if you can, things can be accomplished incrementally. So we're going to clarify that. King of Wands. Okay. Yeah, the Five of Wands. And that's, I love this. The Five of Wands is conflict, right? The Five of Swords is conflict over here, but the Five of Swords is more painful. The Five of Wands is like a productive conflict, like a fiery conflict. Sometimes it can be business competition or whatever. And what I love about this deck in particular is that each individual is climbing up these branches or the wands to accomplish their goal, right? Yes. Oh my goodness. You guys are amazing. This is like funny because I'm saying this is a collective reading. What is the collective going through? We have kind of some messy shit going on in the world around us, in our inner world, in the bigger world, whatever. But we are responsible for our own creative fire. And with this card to clarify, it's like all we can do is each climb at like do our incremental steps, like just keep going, keep going. Um, and sooner or later you'll look up and like, yeah, you'll get there. That's funny. So far we have 2 5s and 2 3s here. All right, so now we're going to clarify. Yeah, we're going to clarify the 5 of swords. 5 of Swords, betrayal, anger, conflict, the 10 of Pentacles. This is the legacy card, and the 10 of Pentacles to me, so we could be going through family stuff, we could be going through friendship stuff, just altercations, disagreements, misunderstandings. The 10 of Pentacles, it reminds us that life is long. You know, that this card represents like the generational ancestral trauma. You know, when I was getting that all is not lost, just hang in there. I always, with this card, it kind of reminds me that if you're in your life, you're like, oh my God, this is awful. But one of the things I like to do is get in a helicopter and go up and kind of look over my life. And I'm like, oh, all right, like this is just, you know, that. And life is long. Except when it's not. And if it's not, then you're dead and like it's better. Maybe not for the people who aren't dead, but you know what I mean. Usually life is long. We're looking at long term here. So don't get, it's almost like just don't be messy. You know what I mean? Keep the mess to a minimum. It's not a good time to complicate things. I don't feel like solutions are going to evolve. It's probably not a good time for words. You know, swords are air energy, that's communication, words. So it's probably just not a good time for words. All right, 3 of Swords, 3 of Swords. What do we got for that? Pray to your ancestors. That's something that just came through. It could be that you're, you know, there are hiccups occurring in in the family, or you could be dealing with like past life wounds, or having things come up that feel really old. We just got through the full moon in Cancer on the 6th. Yeah, it's the 10th. That one was a doozy. Full moon in Cancer is always very emotional. Can often have to do with the family. Cancer's, the sign of the mother. But because Cancers are ruled by the moon, and Cancer is ruled by the moon is at home in Cancer, and that makes it like extra emotional. So I'm not immune to that. I don't know if you can see my eyes. I've been doing my fair share of crying. I'm good, but it's good to cry. 3 of Swords, Temperance. Temperance is staying balanced. That actually there's a sun and a moon on here. Even keel prayer. Ups and downs are a part of life. You can't always be up, and the higher up that you experience, the lower down that you also experience. So don't let yourself get carried away by drama, by sorrow. I mean, experience it, cry it out, but don't let yourself get carried away by it. And then this 3 of Pentacles. Ace of Cups, yes. God, this is really lining up. The 3 of Pentacles, we're rebuilding, we're co-creating. Pentacles are earth energy. Things are, this is working together to create something. Also co-creating with the universe. Ace of Cups is new beginnings, new emotional beginnings. So even if things are kind of blocked or falling apart or crumbling right now, it is so that they can be rebuilt better. Allow love to flow in. Focus on love with whatever situations that you have going on in your life. Love yourself, love other people, whether, even if there's strife going on with with other people. One of my favorite things is namaste, because it's like, I can namaste even the assholes in my life. It's like the divine in me honors the divine in you. And we are just here on earth playing out this experience in our physical bodies, and we're limited. We are limited in these bodies. We don't know the entirety of what's going on. So even if I am arguing with you right now, I can still honor that you are a divine being and that I'm a divine being. So there's that. We're going to do some oracle. But I want to do, for some reason, this wanted to come out. We'll pull a few of these. They're very random. You'll see. Or you may have already seen a few of them. Do 3. Yeah. Cut ties. Release anything that's no longer serving you. I have people ask sometimes about cutting cords with people. And dearest wishes come true. And this is going to go perfectly with what I'm about to tell you. Let me just see what the third one is. Sometimes people don't want to cut cords, right? Well, that's a lot. But we're going to keep it. So we got 50-50. win-win. And always, always, always when I'm pulling cards, like if you're seeing symbols or animals or numbers or whatever that are specifically meaningful to you, that's what I'm asking for when I'm shuffling. So, you're your own reader. Win-win, chicken or the egg. Adventure, risk, and persevere. Tortoise and the hare. Taking action. Yeah. Adventure, risk. Like just diving in, just doing what is right in front of you, what feels natural. The win-win and the 50-50 is kind of what I was saying, that you never know. But what I really want to talk about is cut ties and dearest wishes come true. So sometimes people will be like, well, I don't want to do a cord cutting. And it doesn't even have to be a specific cord cutting, but it's like releasing expectations of other people, right? So sometimes when someone will feel like they should cut cords with a person that they're obsessing over, or who they ultimately do still want a relationship with, but they're afraid to cut the cord because they think that that'll mean like they're just getting rid of them altogether. That's not what cutting cords is about. Cutting cords is releasing like the energetic attachment to a specific outcome, or desire. Sometimes if you cut a cord, you're releasing someone and then they come back to you because they don't feel that pull, like that you're pulling on them with an energetic cord. It's like they can do what they want, and of their own free will, then they do come to you. It's like, imagine you feel something like tugging at an energetic cord. Your instinct is to pull away from that, so by having cords attached to people, we're actually encouraging them to like resist us, but that's what came to mind, because it's like you cut ties and then your dearest wishes come true, anyway. Let's do wisdom of the oracle. Higher power. Pray. Pray, meditate, journal, whatever. Remember to keep coming back to planting seeds. I like to call it that, not positive thinking. Like this is an emotional time. It's fine to be upset. It's fine to cry. It's great even. It's advisable. But don't forget to be in gratitude. Don't forget to plant seeds for the future, things that you want to happen, manifest. I like to do that through journaling, but remember that the higher power is there. Remember that the universe is acting on your behalf, and things that may not look good, you think of the blanket. I don't know, it's like a blanket story that I've heard where it looks really pretty on the other side once the blanket is all done, but behind is a fucking mess, that's your life. That's your life. And I wanted to do a moon card. But yeah, remember, higher power, source, God, spirit, whatever you call it, is there. So foster that connection. Shut up. My job here is done. Surrender to the divine. Full moon. We were talking about the full moon. Yeah, it's in God's hands. It always is, but it really, really is right now. Anyway, I've got to get going. I hope you have a great day on earth. Thank you for stopping by. Feel free to like, subscribe. Yeah, peace. Namaste. Ooh.